A very good evening, East Africa. Welcome to yet a brand new and also exciting week of the desk. Now more than ever, I'm yours truly, Shadrack Kisame. And guess what? We are still on the road. It is Spring Road in Bugolobi. We're actually at Krish Mall, at House of Nyenya. Your people, your dealers, your number one dealer actually for all the furniture that you need. All the couches, beautiful like these ones for velvet, all the kinds, name it. Carpets, cushions, pillows, they have you sorted. Now remember, we're actually on the continent's leading intellectual platform, The Desk, and we are on U24. Now thank you very much for always keeping yourselves glued on to U24. Now we trust that every time you watch U24, you're inspired, you're motivated, and above all, you are educated. Like tonight, you're going to be immensely educated about real estate. Now when you talk about real estate, some people think about Babuloka, just selling land, but real estate is more intense than that. Now I have a real estate expert, Mr. Tamale Francis from Glorious Containers Solutions. These are people who have actually taken a front row seat and they've measured in cutting and making containers. They remodel a house and a design of your choice in container. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tamale.
Thank you very much, Shadrack.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
How have you been?
I'm okay, maybe you.
I'm great. How has the pandemic treated you? The president said we are opening in a week.
The pandemic actually caused us several losses. Actually brought most of the real estate deals at a standstill. So we had to wait until when there's some relief. So hopefully this year will be a great year for us.
Paint a picture for all the youths who are watching you what real estate is.
Real estate is diverse. Real estate, we're looking into property sales, land, houses, and in property sales we also have what is called rentals. Some people want land and all offices for rent, others for full occupancy, half occupancy, co-shared spaces. And because of the current situation due to the pandemic that has affected people financially, most people have opted to sharing spaces, just like cars. So real estate is diverse.
So when you say sharing spaces, are we talking office? Are we talking homes?
Even homes, because you see, if people back then would rent a whole house at 500,000, today I have people I know who have opted to have their two families into one, so that they can share to share.
No, so I have.
you have like a 3-bedroom house. Instead of paying all the 500, then you say no, let's co-share the house.
So I bring my family.
You bring your family. They contribute to 50. Another family brings.
People are doing that.
People are doing that, so because it's becoming unaffordable. Remember, people have lost their jobs, where they have been working the rental units for office spaces were short rows, and because everyone was trying to recover. So the owners of those premises increased the rent. So the only option people have to do is now to try to minimize by co-sharing spaces.
Right. So you break down what real estate is in all, be it office, be it rentals, are you buying, all that is real estate.
All that is real estate.
Yeah, but let's just analyze the real estate atmosphere in Uganda.
True.
How is it looking like?
The real estate up to now is still struggling because of the pandemic. And it is also being affected because of the several land wrangles that are coming up. You know, they're trying to change the land policies, so people have now, some of them are withdrawing from buying. Then others with money are then buying. Then that other law that was being pushed for by the URA is also affecting people. So there's that uncertainty amongst the real estate dealers and even the people would be purchasers.
Right. So do we see government playing a big role in this confusion?
Yeah, I would say government is, because it's not laying down strict, or it's not being like, there's what called unsurety, where someone is not sure of, is this government really bringing it, is this not? So there's that unclear communication, but we are waiting on the government. Maybe with time it's going to be more clear. You
know, government has been doing that for, even with COVID, remember they said do not chase people out of the houses, but still the people would have to pay. They are not clear.
Now that happens because one, the more government let private people take up or decide a lot about real estate. For example, I'll give you an example. In countries, in most of the countries, they wouldn't adhere to people to pay rent in dollars. But in Uganda, it is why, because government can't easily dictate something, it pull their hand out.
Right, right.
So the only way it can dictate is by maybe changing the land ownership, which will again be more chaotic. So that alone is still affecting the entire real estate.
Let's just talk about mostly Indians doing this, right?
True.
Let's talk about what is the impact of paying rent in dollars to the business first of all, but then also to the tenants themselves. What is that? What is the impact? When
you're in a country and you pay money in a foreign currency, one, you're contributing to forex repatriation, meaning you're going to pay more than you would actually be paying
in your
local currency. For example, if a dollar, because there is that uncertainty of the dollars per day.
Yes.
Today you be sure you're paying 3,600 at the dollar rate.
Yeah.
Then the morning you go, it has short. So to the owners of those premises, for them they like it that way because it is, to them it's a sure win. But to the person
tenants,
renting or the tenant, it's a loss to them.
And yet they are earning in shillings.
Yes, and yet they're earning in shillings. So you have to take that shilling, then exchange it, then bank it.
Do you think government can ever sort this nightmare?
I don't think government will ever sort that.
Why? It's just you just wake up and say, hey, stop paying rent in dollars.
Why I say that, it's like transport. The day government removed its hand out of the transport sector. Remember those days people used to have UTC buses and all that.
Yes.
So now it is hard for them to dictate something they don't own. That's why the only way government can dictate that is by maybe saying we are going to reduce on the price of fuel tax, so you people can also reduce on that, because it now becomes a major kind of discussion.
But Francis, government is deemed to be a sovereign authority or a sovereign leader, even when they do not own.
True.
When they are making policies, because of that sovereignty, can't it just pass?
It can't. Let me tell you, Shadrack, if you don't own something, that's why ownership is key. Facebook, why it has all the capability to even stop Donald Trump's twists or anything, is because they are the owners of what they have. So even if government came up and said, let's put this to this side, it will be a hearsay. Like you've seen these things where they say, taxes, put on seatbelts, it's a must, then that wave comes and then it goes.
And then it goes, yes.
Yeah, so it's the same thing that happens.
Is that about enforcement?
It is a two-way thing. It comes all the way from up. Because you see, the mindset of people in Africa is government doesn't they don't see the benefit of government apart from taxation.
Right.
So, and even the government itself feels like, okay, we can do this. So there is that gap that government needs to close.
All right, let's go for a short break. But when we come back, we still dive deep into this conversation. We are on set with Mr. Tamale Francis. This man, I'm telling you, he does a lot of things with his engineering practices. He can make a hospital from a metal container, all that in the next segment. Do not go away, you are still on the desk.
Thank you.
Alright, now if you're just joining us, I'm afraid you've missed the first very insightful segment where we're actually talking a little bit more of real estate, the hindrances, what government can do. It's been really quite a lot, but you can follow this very lovely discussion on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Do it for Shadrack Kisame, do it for U24 Television, and where I am, if you love the set or the couch that I'm sitting on, is Nyenya House of Furniture. Look them up on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Look them. You can actually place your order there and they'll definitely be able to deliver for you. But we are on the road, Spring Road in Bugolobi at Krishmall House of Nyenya Furniture. We are still with Mr. Tamale Francis, and he's educating us about how he's been able to transition his passion into a business. I know it's not been easy, right?
No, it hasn't been easy.
When does this start?
Let me give you a track back.
Yeah.
This began while at still campus, in my second year crossing over to the third year. So those trips that always happen at campus.
Yeah.
So it was a trip to Kenya, then at a place called Kakamega.
Yeah.
We saw those containers. So we loved the idea. Then we came back. So by that time I was part-timing at NASA. So I used that time.
When you say NASA, you mean NASA,
NASA
Road
Road.
or the NASA?
No,
NSA.
NASA Road
Okay.
at a brother's printery.
Yeah.
So by that time I began to study the concept and everything, especially to do with the installation.
Yeah.
Then after that I had to phase launch out. That was after like 4 months of looking through the idea. Yes, sir.
So that's how you conceive it. You just sit and you're like, I want to do this.
I want to do this. Then I go to internet, took time to really study how the concepts are, and those designs that are shared online. Then you look at the weaknesses, the challenges, advantages. So you put everything together. Then you say like, okay, now I feel we can launch out.
So take us through a normal way you would start. Let's say, for instance, I wanted a small shop or a small showroom, but in a container form. Just take us through the process.
What happens when someone wants a container space? Because first, what we're dealing with is cargo texture, and in cargo texture, what I mean is we turn shipping containers or boxes into artistic impressions. Then we print them out for you to look at.
Right.
So when you come up to us and you tell us, okay, I need a space of this design, of this match. So we formulate a simple drawing on the paper. Then from where we take it to the architect. So the architect sits and then formulates what I've told you, the cargo texture. So after which they share with us, then we say, okay, now change this to here. Then afterwards we share. So there's that collaboration within the architecture, then the client, and then us. So after that we share it with the person. So the client, upon approval, then we share a costing. Then negotiations begin. Then we view the site. Then we take on, after viewing the site, if there are several changes, we go back to the architect.
When you say site, what do you mean? Where the container is?
Where the container is gonna sit. Because sometimes you can design something without being there. Then you reach the place is rugged. It's not flat. So meaning you have to again redesign it. There are some times where distances are too far.
Right.
Where you can use the Google Earth to look at the place where you don't need to visit. But then there are instances where you use Google Earth and then you still see that the place needs a site visit for more details.
Right.
True.
So go ahead.
So after that, when the client has approved and then they have done a deposit, we go ahead and then get the shipping container, cut them out, put windows, doors.
When you say cut them out, what do you use to cut? What exactly happens?
So what happens there is we are talking about more of the fabrication. So we cut the shipping container out. Say if it's a window, because normally we basically want the bigger the window, the more aeration and the lesser the heat ratio.
Right.
So meaning we have reduced on the resistance of insulation. So the bigger the windows, so we always prefer bigger windows for more aeration. So after putting those windows, then we go ahead and then put a wooden frame. So what I mean is we put wood, because heat with wood, the transition is cut. Wood is a bad conductor of heat.
Yes.
So after which then we put the silver lining. So silver lining is when they're roofing, there's that silver material they put, which eliminates. So for us, we prefer to call it polymer membrane. So it eliminates heat from coming inside the container.
Right.
So after that, we put boards. So some people would prefer, because of the costing, obviously. Some people prefer to put gypsum boards. Others prefer to put 9mm plus gypsum boards. That is the best because it's strong enough.
I'm trying to understand your concept. These boards prevent the heat because the container is metal.
Yeah.
So they prevent the heat from coming in. Okay.
So what prevents the heat from coming in is first the wood, then the polymer, that silver lining, then the boards.
Right.
So inside you have very cool room temperature. So when you add on those big windows you have cut out, then some people prefer AC, others because of the cost.
You can even put air condition.
So some people don't want the air condition because of the costing. Then they say no. I want the ventilation, which is how can I explain it?
It's more of ceilings. Are they like ceilings?
Cyclone, warehousing, those big.
Okay.
So those cyclones.
Yes,
so we put them up, so you don't have that extra fee to pay for electrical.
For SC.
For electrical bills.
Oh, okay. So you brought the container, gone through that process. It is now here. Let's just talk about your business.
True.
How has it been ever since inception? Are you making any money? Is it struggling? What's happening?
What happened? At the start, at the time we began it, the perception was quite low.
So mindset.
The mindset. So due to the continuous publicity and collaboration with the media houses, they've tried to push it out, and then there's now a positive pick-up rate. So you find that people like Amos Wekesas have now picked interest in it. They are trying to set up cottages for tourism.
Okay, so in Amos Wekesa's resorts up country, he would rather do a cottage over a container.
Yeah, he's actually coming up with one. So that's what I'm trying to say, that now the mindset is growing because it's a growing venture. Remember, in Uganda we have about 2.1 million housing shortages. Now we are contributing to the reduction of that rate because over time, within 20 years, the population doubles.
Yes.
So if we also do our part, then other models also put their part, then together
we reduce the housing gap.
We reduce the housing gap.
What is the advantage of me using your container other than normal brickwork?
The advantages are quite many, but I'm going to list some. Let me tell you number one, because you see we are going into the continued land disputes and wrangles, and then unsureties where someone sells land and sells to three people.
More especially in urban settings.
Yes, in the urban settings. Because you know the population in the urban settings is growing by 3.2% annually.
Yeah.
So that is about 200,000 persons every year.
Yeah, right.
So now what happens? You find that when you have your container there, due to uncertainties, you will move with your house somewhere else. I'm not giving you a hint for borrowing money, then you run away. Now, another advantage is with the shipping containers. When you're using them over traditional housing concepts, you're reducing and minimizing costs to do with supervision. You know, laborers will steal sand, steal cement, and all that. So you're kicking it out. Those calls you receive. Secondly, with shipping containers, you are reducing costs. What do I mean? Affordability. You know, when they're building like apartments, this slab costs and then the foundation hit almost 50% of the budget. Yes, because you have to dig deep, then all that cement that goes and all that gravel, then also the slab. So now you are minimizing that, because with containers just stuck. Once you clear the level, do a foundation, it's a very small one, then you just stack them. Then secondly, when it comes to natural disasters, shipping containers, you are not so much affected as to the natural traditional storms. No, earthquakes, no, because it's a metal, it's intact. Unlike when earthquake came here, you would see cracks in the structure. Yes. Then another added advantage is with shipping containers, you are contributing to the, there's what we call the circular economy, where you're using reusability. Reusability. So instead of throwing about 3,500 kgs of steel, 2,500 kgs of steel, you're reusing it. So the environment and Mother Nature blends.
Okay, so for people who are watching, the containers is a metal that was used before, but now it's being reused.
Yes, so shipping containers are basically those, that the containers used to bring in commodities.
Yes.
So they normally use them for a period of 5 to 10 years. Then after they are dispersed. So those days they would just throw them. So you find that still will take over 50 years to crack down. But now, because we are using them, so we are saving on nature.
Right. So on that point, let's go for a short break. When we come back, we talk about the challenges and how government can come in your kind of space to make it a better space. Now, do not go away. We are still on the desk, and we're coming back. Now, special thanks go to Nyenya House of Furniture for giving us this glamorous space to shoot and also sensitize the nation about matters of economics. Now, you are still on the continent's leading intellectual platform. You guessed right, you are still on the desk, and you are on U24 television. Now, remember, every time you watch U24, you're inspired, you're motivated, but above all, you are educated. Like tonight, we're being educated about containers, we're educated about real estate, and guess what? it is not ending here. You can actually start, because Tamale Francis, as he said, he started with nothing, but the dream has become his reality. But you can follow me on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You have a minute right now before we continue. Rush out for your phone and type in Shadrack Kisame. Like the page on Facebook. Now you can also get back to me in case of anything you want to meet the clients. You have any questions, just type it in the comment section below, and we can definitely be able to get you right there. Now, Francis, what are some of those challenges, piercing challenges that you have faced in the business?
Okay. Mainly the biggest challenge we are facing is with giving out licenses to, you know, build those permits to allow you stabilize those, put those containers
on a place. So you need a permit?
Yes, for example, in Kampala, you know, because of the past, government used to think, okay, because of the perception that people used to just dump them everywhere.
Right.
There's a wave that happened during Jane Famsis's time that they didn't want containers in the city. But because by that time people didn't really put in a lot of, you know,
it was more of a disposing.
It was more like a disposing. I'm dumping. I'm putting up my shop, and then there's no organization.
Right.
Now, when we came in and, you know, we tried to put a few things together, whereby we are insulating them, we are making them really livable and beautifying them.
Yeah.
Now, the perception of government and the government officials is still tied up to the past. Like, oh, they used to be everywhere, they used to be rusty and what. They're not good for human lives. So what happens when you're trying to put up a container? You need to get obviously in touch with the KCCA, and then they allow you to put that container. Because the advantage we have is they still take them as, you know, mobility, that they are short term, they will move away. So but
are yours long term?
There are people who actually prefer to have them for long term, like those who are building houses. Within okay, in Union people have put them up. So still the KCCA bureaucracy, basically it's government bureaucracy, which we need to do away with, because we are saving the environment, and government needs to understand that, you know, rather than dumping them, we can use them. True, that is the biggest challenge we have.
So how about capital? How did you maneuver around that?
Capital, what happened was with capital, banks obviously. There's a big challenge with banks because of, you know, people still perceive that, you know, if I lend against a container, I may come when you default and you've taken away the container.
The container, yes.
Yet, people forget that you can actually track those containers.
How do you do that?
You can install a tracker into that container.
Just remove it off?
No, when they're setting them up with the builder, the bank can collaborate with the builder. They install trackers, so the bank has, you know, a tracking mechanism, like the way they're doing with cars, so they can know that container also was carried here. So basically, it's finance, the bureaucracy within government, and the perception of people. People need to adhere to them more.
People feel like it's a luxury, or
yeah, people feel like,
or is it backward? What
people feel like, no, I can't live in a container. It is like small, but then they forget that, you know, it's where we are we are heading.
Are you sure? Is that where I'm heading? Is that where I'm going to live with my wife?
That's where we are heading, because, for example, look at the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. He's living in a container.
It's just weird. Those rich people are just weird. Me, I would want to live. Where would the kids play from?
No, you know, Shadrack. The thing is, at a particular age, like our youth, our usefulness, instead of spending huge money and huge sums of money on the house, you'd rather use little money, then invest the rest of the money into profitability business.
So the real estate aspect. True. Can I have these containers and make them into rentals or apartments?
People have done that. People are doing them into cottages, into apartments, into, you know, rent out houses. On Airbnb, you find these things there. Even in Uganda, we have them.
Impressive.
Very.
How can government come into your space and say make it better? Mwagala Center, do you want grants? What do you want?
What we want from government is, one, they should, I think, have favorable laws for us. You know, they be like, okay, we've seen what you guys are doing.
Have they seen? Have you guys?
Actually, we've invited some people in the UNBS. They have come. They have seen. They even wondered if this thing were going to happen. Okay, people are doing them in Uganda.
Right.
Because, you know, a container, due to the things that they carry, people feel like they are not good for human consumption. You know, when you're in it during the day and you've not insulated it, it has that weird smell, that heat. That's why when we came in to, you know, rebrand them and do all this insulation and everything, UNBS people came and were like, wow, this is impressive.
Right.
So that's the same perception we want everywhere. So that now when it comes to money, we can access the loans. Government has okayed and said, okay, let it now this as well be a fully under real estate avenues of the government.
So government's ascension, if government assents your business or they okay your business, is that a surety or security for banks giving you money?
Yes, because banks will be sure that, okay, government is aware of what we are doing.
Okay.
Government is aware that these are now part of the long-lasting, like the traditional houses are. Like when they plan for a city, they can always have a container city here. Like in Juba, there are hotels
with containers. But Juba is too hot. Maybe they need a lot of AC.
Obviously,
Sorry.
Obviously, because to insulate them, we put away all that.
Right.
So when you're inside, you just feel everything is okay.
Right. So before we go, before we wind up the show, you know we can never exhaust everything on the desk. But for an investor, what's the return on investment? How does it look? On investment for an investor, how does that look like? How do I make my money back?
You're guaranteed 100% return on investment because, for example, if you invested in about $10,000, and let me say they are rentals. One, the uniqueness of the place. Two, everyone will want to really will want to embrace how a container house would look like, how they can live in it, how they feel of it. You know, Ugandans, we believe in touching and seeing before we order.
Right.
So it means you'll have every time there will be full occupancy or half occupancy. So the return on investment is very good.
Ugandans are hearing you, they are going to call you and they want to invest. So before we wind up the show, how much could the container go for? Everything, how much would it cost?
That is dependent on the design you come up with. For example, if you want a 20-foot and it's a studio setup, you find that it can go for about 22 million.
22 million
for a 20-foot studio setup. So that is this a 5 feet by 8 bathroom, then a sleeping area.
So that means the land is mine.
Yes, obviously the land is yours. But with time, we shall come up with those offers for, you know, where purchase land, then when the land is ours. Yes.
Wow. So 22 million. Same. Let's imagine someone is going to do normal brickwork, the traditional brickwork, same house, same space.
True.
Would it be more expensive or cheaper?
Ours would be more affordable.
Really?
True.
Because a studio, I'm imagining a studio. Can't I use 10 million to build a studio?
You can, but you know, you have to look at the security of what you're putting inside. Because with the container, no one will steal. Because you know it's metal, you will cut. But with brickwork, someone will pass by and then knock a few 5 bricks and then they are in. Second, with the container, you move it anywhere you want. Today you may feel broke and then you say, no, I'm only selling the land, I will move with my house.
With my house. I'm telling you, I can even migrate Chibuga Kampale Ganya and go back to Masaka.
You move with your house.
With my house, modern house.
You can even prefer, no, I'm tired of having it under on land, let me put it on wheels and then I move with it.
On the car and then you move it. Oh, that's how it came. Those things we see in the movies.
True, so that's how you have those house on wheels.
House on wheels, the trailer parks.
True.
I understand. Before we wind up the show, how can someone get to you?
Someone can get to me through our Facebook channels. We have Glorious Container Conversions Uganda Limited. We have also Glorious Container Conversions on Twitter. Also, you can check out our YouTube channel, and you can reach me out on 0783 063 789 or Airtel 0751 4865 14.
You want to do the numbers again?
0783 063 789 or 0751 4865 14.
All right, it's a wrap, Mr. Francis. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you,
to the
sir,
show.
Shadrack.
It is a pleasure. We've learned a lot. Hope we can talk some other time.
Always.
All right.
Anytime you want.
All right, that is it. I'm telling you, it's been a heated up conversation as there's been a lot of intellect going on. We've learned a lot, And I'm telling you, this can be a credible business if you're an investor. And for you who is looking for a cheaper way of housing, look no further. Glorious Containers got you sorted. Now from me and the entire U24 management here at Nyenya House of Furniture, and I'm telling you, they're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Just look for them, and they're in Bugolobi at Kish Mall here on Spring Road. Now good night, good luck, adios for God and my country. May the good Lord bless this beautiful Uganda, and I'm so sure I'm going to see you next week. Ciao.